Immigration is something you've been covering literally for decades. One of your latest columns for the LA Times is about car washes here in Southern California, which have been targeted by federal immigration agents. Here's the headline: car wash workers already had it tough, then immigration raids slammed them to the ground. What'd you learn by visiting car washes?
Just how the Trump administration really goes for the easiest people they could go. They're bragging, oh, we're taking down Tren de Aragua, we're taking down MS-13. No, they're going after men who devote their time to make wheels shiny. They have gotten at least 380 people in Southern California alone. This is a car wash industry that represents like 3% of all the people there. They're going after men in their 50s and their 60s, people who have families, been 20, 30 years. It's absolutely terrible. And so there's groups, though, that are protecting them to make sure that at least try to get them out of, get bail or whatever, or at least take care of their families.
Of course, the counter to that is, if you're in this country illegally, you could be removed from this country at any time, and they feel like that's a crime in itself, being in this country illegally. Why should you be able to cut the line?
Because my dad cut the line. He came to this country in the trunk of a Chevy. But again, the Trump administration, they campaigned on this idea, we are going to get the worst of the worst. That was their own words. They keep saying that. When you put the stuff out on Instagram, on the social media, they're saying this guy was a child molester, this guy's a rapist. That's what they're trying to do. But stats have shown 70% of the people that they are detaining haven't even been convicted of any crime, have no criminal charges outside of them being in this country without papers.
And it's interesting, here in Southern California, so many people that are Latino are also Catholics, the biggest archdiocese in the country here in Southern California. You wrote about the fact that the Catholic Church puts foot down on Trump's mass deportation policy, which is a start. It's interesting that the Pope, the first ever American Pope, now speaking out against the Trump administration immigration policy.
I mean, look, the Bible keeps saying, be nice to the stranger, welcome the sojourner. Again and again, the Bible says so much about treating the stranger with respect, with dignity. What did Jesus say? The least among us, that's me and them. I'm forgetting my Bible right now, but that basically is what he said. Like, you have to take care of people. And so this idea, when you have then people like J.D. Vance, who's also a Catholic, converted to Catholicism, saying, well, actually, we have to quote St. Augustine in the City of God, and we have to go to that big fat thing that the Catholic Church, look, I can't remember the book right now. No, go to Jesus. Jesus is pretty straightforward. The Pope Leo is pretty straightforward. The United States Conference of Catholic Bishops, that's why they put out their thing. And they're saying, we're not opposed to security at the border. We're not even opposed necessarily to deportations, but you cannot have these indiscriminate raids that just sow terror. Whether it's in Los Angeles, Chicago, Charlotte, that's doing nothing to make this country safer.
Yeah, and it's often said that LA is the nation's coming attractions, and we sort of have seen that with a lot of these raids starting here several months back, now expanding to other parts of the country. We see now in North Carolina, it's about to happen in New Orleans. You visited Chicago when this was happening there. What are you seeing on the ground in terms of other places in the country?
You're seeing people definitely, like my tocayo Gustavo in the previous segment showed, people are scared, but you're also seeing people saying, no, I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to fight back legally. So in Chicago, I was with activists in Little Village. That's they call it the heart of the Mexican Midwest, right there, 26th Street. That's their big avenue. And it was completely empty, except for people blowing on their whistles, honking, running up and down the street saying, La migra, because Bovino and his people were there. That was the day, I think, when a judge said that what he and his people have done, Greg Bovino being with the Border Patrol, that it shocks the conscience.
Do you think, though, that the fear and the shock may be the point? That they really want people to self-deport, and that making people scared may get them to just leave the country on their own, which is a lot cheaper and a lot easier for them, and that maybe this is working, that the images for them are helpful?
Oh, sure. No, the cruelty is the point. The terror is the point. And is that really a United States where we want to live in, where we terrorize the people who live in this country? We've always been the imperial power. We terrorize actual bad people. We terrorize the commies. We terrorize the fascists, the Nazis. And now you're turning inward to terrorize people. That's not the America that I was brought up to believe in. And if that's what Trump America's is, well, you know what, I'm going to push back. And
Because
others
we
will.
saw a lot of Latinos supporting President Trump in the last election. You think that may be going the other direction now?
I've been writing about the Latino Trump vote since 2016 when Democrats are telling me it's not going to happen. And a lot of Latinos, 48%, most ever for a Republican, voted for Trump. But I've been talking to people and they told me, again, what we said at the very beginning. Trump said he was going to get the worst of the worst. When you go after the streetcar, the paletero, the frutero, that's not the worst of the worst. When you're going after Mexicans, Salvadorans who've been in this country 20, 30 years, and they have family members who are in college, that's not the worst of the worst. So yeah, now the polls, the polls against for Trump by Latinos, it's going downhill faster than make up your metaphor.
Okay. Gustavo, great to have you here. Thanks so much for coming in. We appreciate it. You can check out Gustavo's work at the LA Times or at latimes.com.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.